Hey guys, Scott from aristocob.com here.
And Seth from theshrinkingpastor.com. I still would not go there.
Together, the three of us, we are Mark Woodman's Breakfast Club. Thank you for joining us. And good morning, boy.
Good morning, Homer. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome for asking. What are you smoking today?
We are smoking that Milan Tobacconist Poochie's blend, which we still are not quite sure what that's called, but I think that's it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good black Cavendish. I think it's a black Cavendish. Yeah, it's a black Cavendish. I like it. No, I know. It is. It's good. You had a story to share.
Yeah.
Why don't you just go ahead and share that story, boy?
Yeah, all right. So a couple weeks ago we talked about customer service stuff. Right. And since then I have had a couple of customer service stories pop up. One of which happened to my coworker. He had his truck towed via AAA to a shop. It's been a week at the shop, and they basically concluded that it's going to be too expensive to really repair it. So he needs to get it back to his house so he can sell it. AAA will not tow it back to his house. They will not tow it a second time for the same repair situation, is what they told him. He said, what do I pay? I pay you for the tows. So he tried to ask, how many tows do I get with my service? Right. They said, well, you get seven service calls. Could you be more vague, please? How many times can I get towed? Well, you get 7 service calls. So does that mean I get 7 tows? Well, not necessarily. A service call could be a tow. It could be jumping your battery. It could be fixing a flat tire. Right, but so how many tows do I get?
So they're not going to
tow
it. They're not going to tow it all over.
They're not going to tow it. They're not going to tow it at all. Second time, and so that is apparently in fine print that I've never seen. I've been a member for many years. So that was an interesting thing that crept up. But today I had something very odd happen. I went to pay I got a doctor's bill, and clearly from looking at the bill, my insurance wasn't processing properly. And so I called the doctor and said, hey, what's the deal? And they said, well, it looks like there's some sort of conflict between the last insurance plan you were on and this one. And so go ahead and call Blue Cross Blue Shield. So I had one plan, a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan, at my former job working for the high school, and I now have one working at the plumbing company. And so she said, it looks like there's a conflict. So I called Blue Cross Blue Shield. After talking to one service rep, they forwarded me to another, and the guy tells me, oh yeah, I see that your primary plan is for Guilford County Schools. I said, excuse me? Yeah, your insurance is for Guilford County Schools. No, it's not. And he said, well, yeah, it is. He said, I've not worked there in a year and a half. Well, looks like you're still on their plan. Still on their coverage.
Oh my gosh.
So that shouldn't have happened. So now, of course, the wheels start turning. I'm afraid that they're going to try to charge me for all this and do all this stuff. I'm like, okay. So they can't process my insurance for the recent doctor's visit because it's showing that my should be non-existent insurance, primary insurance, is with the job I no longer have, but it's also showing that I have insurance with my current company.
Okay.
And so I've got 2 insurances.
Not your primary one, though.
Not my primary one. Right? And so I said, okay, great. Easy fix. Remove me from the school plan because I haven't worked there in a year and a half. That's not my plan. This plumbing company, this one is my insurance. So, well, I'm okay. He said, great. That's easy to do. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to call the school, and you're going to have to get them to remove you. And then once that's done, then you need to wait 7 days, turn around 3 times, sprinkle a little fairy dust, call us back, ask for a continuance of coverage form. We'll fill one of those out, and in about a week, we should have everything taken care of.
And you got a pregnant wife on this policy?
No.
She's on her own.
She's on her own. She's on her own. But so I asked him, I said, okay, that all sounds good and well, but can't you just remove my plan? Can't you just cancel it? I don't use it. I have no interest in using it. I've not worked for them for a year and a half. No, sir, I can't do that. I said, all right. I'm not upset. Let me be very clear. I'm not upset. I am not concerned. I am genuinely interested at this point. Can you please explain to me what you mean? He said, well, I can't remove you because people could get on and off of plans, so they have to go through the proper channels. So you're telling me that as an individual, I don't have the right to remove myself from a plan if a company is going to continue to claim me? He said, well, yep, that's correct. So that is absurd. That is absurd. So I said, if they...
especially considering both of your plans are with the same provider.
Right. So if the Guilford County Schools, for whatever wild reason, wanted to not release me from my plan, I would have no recourse, according to the customer service rep at Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'd have no recourse for removing myself from their insurance plan to get the coverage that I'm paying for. For the last year and a half, I've been paying for coverage that apparently I didn't need to be paying for.
Wow.
That's wild
bizarre.
to me. Never heard of anything like that. So now I have to call the school, deal with Guilford County, get them to remove me from the plan and deal with any consequences
And
there.
I got to say, and better absolutely make sure that it doesn't appear that you've had a lapse in coverage, or then you're really screwed.
I don't know how it could.
I'm just saying.
They have, well, and like I said, I went through all of the proper channels when I left that job. Sent in a letter of resignation, did all this stuff, gave 2 weeks notice, and did all of that process properly. And so they should have removed me from the records. And what I really can't believe is that not only did they not remove me from their records, but they've now gone through a full school year cycle where they do onboarding for new insurance claims. So I don't know how there wasn't an audit process to discover that I shouldn't be covered.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was my very first question was, well, my wife still has insurance with the school. Is it possible that you're looking at hers? He says, no, there's no one else on this plan. Wow, all right. Not really customer service, but just weird.
Yeah, that is weird. What are you looking at?
The time.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a little sunburned.
Are you?
Yeah, we went to graduation yesterday at Chapel Hill for my sister-in-law. She's a smarty pants and is graduating from Carolina to go back to Carolina in the fall for grad school. And it was hot. The sun was out with vengeance. It was burning down, and it was not pleasant.
Yeah, we were out in that a little bit yesterday too.
Yeah, we were sitting out in the stadium from about 8 o'clock until almost noon. With there was literally a 3-minute cloud coverage. That's it. Wide open blue skies, and just this itsy bitsy black cloud came rolling by. And as soon as it did, I swear the temperature dropped 30 degrees, and a wind blew in. It was glorious, and then it left and never came back. Yeah, it was terrible, but the boys did great.
Good. All right. So speaking of cloud coverage, have you tried Snapchat?
Have I? Yes.
I mean, we talked last year about Beam, and I tried Beam, and they've now released a new version of it, which I have, but I haven't really tried it. I haven't really used it. But Snapchat and several other social media platforms intrigue me a little bit. But at the same time, if you don't have other people out there that are communicating with you, what's the point?
Right.
So I'm on Snapchat now as Aristocop. You're there, right? At least you have an account. Do you do anything with it?
Well, so it's funny you bring this up, and I don't know when you got on, but I got on Snapchat just a week ago.
Oh, I mean,
a week and a half ago.
Quite a while.
I've been listening to a lot of entrepreneurship podcasts and leadership podcasts, and through the EntreLeadership podcast, which is an affiliate of Dave Ramsey, I got turned on to Gary Vaynerchuk.
Vaynerchuk.
I don't think there's a D.
The way I pronounce it, there it is.
Okay. I think it's Vaynerchuk. Anyway, he has a YouTube show called Ask GaryV, which is very, very good. There is cursing, so if that's something you don't care for, avoid that.
I heard him interviewed on that podcast. On the
Vaynerchuk.
On the
EntreLeadership.
EntreLeadership podcast.
Yeah.
And the guy that was interviewing was talking about how he really enjoyed his most recent book that was him answering questions. And he said, do you realize how good you are at answering questions? And he said, well, yeah, I'm kind of in my wheelhouse when I'm answering questions. And so that's why his launch of his current format of his YouTube channel is based on answering questions.
Right, except that, reverse that, because he's on episode 205 of his Ask GaryV show.
Right. And he's done a book.
And has done the book from that.
Forgive me.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, and the show is cool. He is absolutely guilty of being a type A spazoid. So he is incredibly quick, incredibly focused, and incredibly rude when talking with other people. And it's not an intentional rudeness. He just has so much to say and is just, like I said, spaz. And so he wants to jump in and interject. And so, one of the people that I really, really love in business is Seth Godin. And he did an interview with Seth Godin, and it was not great. Seth Godin is brilliant as ever, but he is very smart and slow and articulate. And Gary wanted to just jump in and interject and argue. It comes off as arguing.
Well, how does Seth take that?
Pretty well. I mean, he managed it pretty well. It appeared as if he was getting annoyed at times, but sometimes the format is great. I mean, he's one of those guys that he's like, yeah, I got it. Come on, let's get to the point. If someone's asking him a question. So, in interview format's not great. Answering questions, though, it's excellent. Anyway, he has for the last year and a half talked about how Snapchat's going to be the next big thing, and it is. And he uses it like crazy. He's now talking about Musical.ly being the next thing among teenagers.
Hold on. The app Musical.ly.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Musical.ly, Snapchat is not the next big thing.
No.
The app,
right,
Musical.ly, because us 50-year-old guys are getting on Snapchat,
right,
and so the kids are going to take off, right?
Right, and that's part of it. He said, the Snapchat over the next 24 months is going to continue to skew up like Facebook, is what he's predicting. And so it's a very interesting platform. I like it in some ways, but like you said, it's only fun if there are other people there.
Right.
There are people that you can follow that, those of you that haven't used it, there are a couple different facets. There is chatting, which is just text or pictures back and forth, primarily pictures and or video. One of the things that's unique about it is when you take a picture or video, you can draw on top of the picture, you can write text. And so there are a lot of Snapchatters who have gained a following just by putting clever text and captions or just drawing beautiful art.
Basically making a meme.
Right, on top of their pictures. There is also a section for what's called stories. And so the other thing is if you send someone a chat or a snap, they can view it a total of 2 times and then it disappears. There are things like stories, and that's your feed. So you can record a video. You can choose to save it to your phone locally. So if you want to save it for later, if it's excellent, which is a nice feature. That's something that Beam doesn't have.
Right.
where Beam, if you have something just awesome and you catch it, it's gone. You
Right.
can't save it, and so it's nice to be able to do that. And then you can put it onto
Did you
your
see Kevin
story
Spacey
feed.
talking about
I did.
Beam? Yeah.
And so you can put it on your story, which is 24 hours. It only lasts for 24 hours and then disappears. So it's a rolling 24 hours. The last 24 hours of what you've done. So, there's a potential there for really connecting with people life to life.
Right.
But it's not great if you're really busy.
Right.
So Instagram and Facebook is nice because you can go back in history if you've missed, if you've been off the grid for 2 weeks.
Right. You can go back in your pictures and upload things. Yeah.
But it's unlike YouTube. There's even less planning involved or required because it's just you press the button and you're recording video. So Gary Vaynerchuk, I saw used it the other day to teach just a quick entrepreneurship lesson. He was talking about how when he started in business, or earlier in his career, he was selling things on eBay that he bought on Craigslist. So
Sure. Oh yeah.
he's
I have always said for shopsmith tool shoppers or
Yeah.
woodworking tool shoppers, buy on Craigslist, sell on eBay. Absolutely. eBay. The person who pays the most is the winner.
yeah.
Really? Yeah. Really.
Yeah. So, he just giving tips. Spend this much time scouring eBay for most recently sold pricing on these items, and then go look for those on Craigslist, and then flip them. And if you're hurting for cash, you can make $300 in a week, and do that over and over and over again. Maybe start a business.
I have bought and sold a lot of tools.
Yeah.
In fact, shopsmith again. There was one particular accessory I wanted, and it kept going for crazy prices on eBay. And the first time I saw it on Craigslist, it was with a machine that also had several other accessories. So I bought that whole machine and sold everything to keep the accessory I wanted.
Yeah.
It was better than free at that point.
Yeah. So what do you think of Snapchat?
I don't know enough to think about it, except for the fact that I watch Jimmy DiResta's feed, a couple of other people's feed that are really they're YouTubers that are pretty famous.
Right.
But as far as having conversations with it, man, I'm not doing it. I don't have friends there. Hint.
Yeah, it's the stories. I think is really where it gets interesting, because if you're using it just for chat, then it becomes a Voxer,
Right. Another
with
Voxer.
pictures and videos. And enough of us are on Voxer that Voxer is Voxer. Voxer's nice, and Voxer, it doesn't go away, so it's really great for those of us that have busy schedules. So the chat aspect of it, I don't think is where it's really at, but the
Right.
the stories
if I
and
was
following
doing regular
people,
stories and you were doing regular stories, yeah,
it's content worth watching. And then the question then becomes from an entrepreneurship standpoint. So what? Where does that matter? And on the social side of things, it doesn't necessarily. It's just fun.
right.
But from the business side, how do you capitalize on that? And if you have questions on that, Gary Vaynerchuk does a really great job of answering and talking about he is a Snapchat evangelist through and through. And so he says, look, you tie Snapchat to your Facebook and your Facebook to your blog, and you make all these connections, and you're just funneling traffic and driving traffic to different places. And Snapchat is just another avenue for that. The other thing is there's no search feature on Snapchat.
Yeah.
So there's no way to find somebody unless you know their username.
Okay. Are you on Snapchat? If so, give us your username and we will follow you. Check
Seth
us out.
Markwood.
Aristocob. Very original.
Yeah.
Let's do that. I'm also Aristocob on Instagram. I am facebook.com/Aristocob on Facebook. And I really only use my Aristocob page. I'm never on the Scott E. Markwood Facebook page. I mean, I'm happy to make you my friend there, but I only ever post on the Aristocob page, so check me out there. A couple others. I mean, again, Beam, I'm Aristocob, Periscope, Aristocob, but I'm struggling to find a connection with those social media platforms. So, to me, obviously, YouTube is where it's at. Long form videos, but
YouTube. I think YouTube and Voxer.
Yeah, okay, that's true, and Instagram,
Right.
YouTube, Voxer, and Instagram. But if there's a place for these others, I'm willing to try it.
Right.
But I'm not going to be there alone.
Yeah.
I'm lonely. All right, let's wrap it up, guys. Thanks for joining us again. Make it a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Yes.